Welcome back to Sports Talk Best Bets, episode 5. So, last week, I was 5 from 8. It was actually a really good week, got some outsiders. Brian Ortega getting up in the Korean Zombie fight, paying $2.57. Really good win. Wolves beating Leeds, nearly paying $3. Richmond getting over Port Adelaide at $1.90. Another good bet. The South Sydney Rabbitohs covering the spread against Penrith. Good game. The outsider of the week, Arsenal, just went down 1-0 to Man City. It was a good game. Arsenal definitely had a chance. For $6.50, I'll always put that bet on. So now we're diving into another jam-packed week of sport. AFL Grand Final, NFL Grand Final, UFC 254, EPL, NFL, sports galore on this week. Absolutely sports galore on this week. And luckily for you, I have some really good bets this week. Try and make some money back, no quarantine and all that kind of stuff and COVID. So let's try and make some money back and turn 2020 around. And you're in the right place to find some. So, first bet that we're going to have a look at is the AFL Grand Final. AFL Grand Final, Geelong versus Richmond at the Gabba. So my first bet of the week is Richmond minus 2.5 against Geelong, paying $1.90. Plain and simple, I just think Richmond is the better team. I think they have a better system. I think their backline is perfectly set up to absorb the Geelong pressure and rebound. They're very deep in the midfield. Tom Lynch up front. I just think they've got too much class. I think the game against Brisbane for Richmond was just a one-off thing where they didn't play great. And Geelong don't have a very good track record of playing well in the finals. I know they had a good win against Brisbane last week. But yeah, I just don't think it's going to continue. So Richmond minus 2.5. You can take this straight up on the line, which I think they're paying $1.80, $1.75 right now. But for the sake of 2.5 points, you might as well get a little bit of extra value, $1.90. Not too bad. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a blowout. If I had to make a prediction, I would probably say Richmond by 20 points or so. As much as for a neutral, don't want it to happen. I just think it's going to be another GWS Adelaide kind of final where Richmond come out of the blocks firing in the first half, and the game's kind of done from there. So, yeah, we'll see. Our first bet of the week, Richmond minus 2.5 against Geelong. So the second game we're going to have a look at is the NRL Grand Final. We have the Melbourne Storm versus the Penrith Panthers. And I'm taking Melbourne Storm straight up, $1.70. I think they're going to beat Penrith. Cameron Smith's last game is retiring. Melbourne just don't lose milestone games. 100th, 200th, 400th, 250 games. They just don't lose milestone games. And the fact that their all-time club legend, the best player to play the game, is retiring, I just can't see Melbourne. Craig Bellamy, Smith, Munster, Pappenhausen at the back. That four-pack is ginormous. You got Tino Asamoah coming off the bench. You got Nelson Asafa Solomona. It's some big boys. Josh Adokar, Sus Vunivalu. Jesus, the Melbourne team is quite a mouthful trying to pronounce all their names. They've just got too much class. And Panthers have had a great year. Being the best team all year, but they are very young in key positions, and I just think Melbourne's going to be the team to find them out. So yeah, I'm not taking the line here. The line is 2.5 at the moment. I think this is going to be a close game, and I think it might 1 point either way. I think a field goal or a penalty goal. So yeah, 2.5 is just not quite the value there. So Melbourne straight up is the bet to go with. So bet number 3, when I look at the Premier League, English Premier League, and we have Everton. Moving the camera. So we have Everton versus Southampton. So we have Everton, one of the most informed teams in the league. Had a great game against Liverpool last week, 2-2. Versus Southampton. Well, I think we're getting a lot of value for this bet just because Southampton drew with Chelsea, and I don't know, Chelsea's defense is just not very good. It's just not very good. Kepa in goal was horrendous, and Zuma, I don't know what he was doing either. So yeah, Southampton play a high line. They've conceded a lot of goals. That Tottenham game, Chelsea scored 3 with Werner. I just think Calvert-Lewin in the air, James Rodriguez getting those passes. Richarlison is out, which is going to hurt, but the midfield of Allen and Gomez and Rodriguez, solid at the back. I'm expecting a 2-0 victory to Everton. And $2.30. You're getting over $2 for one of the better teams in the Premier League to get a win, then you're laughing, really. So $2.30, I can't turn that down. That's great odds. $2.30 to versus Southampton. Yeah, I just can't see this going any other way. I'm pretty certain of this one. So the second bet for the Premier League is, let me find it. Here we go. Aston Villa, $2.25 versus Leeds. So Aston Villa have been the most informed team in the league. Aston Villa and Everton have been the two standouts to start the year off in the Premier League. Aston Villa's defense has been statistically one of the best in the league. Martinez in goal has just been absolutely killing it. Their defense is solid at the back. You got Barkley and Grealish and Watkins going forward, so they've definitely got a goal threat. I can't see Leeds scoring against them. Leeds have been lucky. They've scored a lot more goals than the chances they've created would usually score. So, yeah. And $2.25 for Villa. As I said, if you can get over $2 in a Premier League game for a team that you're pretty confident is going to win, then that's really good odds. The same as last week when I picked Wolves over Leeds. I just don't think Leeds are going to score enough goals, especially with such a great defense that Villa is. Villa is playing a lot better defense than Wolves. And yeah, I think $2.25 is great odds. So yeah, moving on to the next game, we're going to the NFL. So we have the Dallas Cowboys, $1.85 straight up against the Washington football team. So, yes, Dak had that horrendous injury 2 weeks ago against the Giants, and he's out. But Andy Dalton's probably the best backup in the league. Maybe Teddy Bridgewater for the Saints is probably the best backup in the league. But Andy Dalton's not far away. He's been a starter for his whole career except for this year. That Dallas attack, you got Zeke, you got Pollard at running back, you got CeeDee Lamb, you got Amari Cooper, you got Gallup. They've got weapons. They will score points. And the Washington football team is probably the worst team in the league. The Jets are the worst team in the league, but very close to being the worst team in the league. And I know the Cowboys looked horrendous against Arizona last week. But Arizona are a decent team, but yeah, if you're getting straight up $1.84 for the Cowboys against the Washington, it's a no-brainer. It's great value, great bet. I think Andy Dalton will do enough to beat the Washington football team. So yeah, sticking with the NFL, we've got another bet in the NFL this week. Let me just get rid of this one. Our next bet is the Seattle Seahawks minus 3.5 against the Arizona Cardinals. So you're getting just slightly over a field goal. You're giving up just slightly over a field goal for arguably the best team in the league. The Seattle Seahawks undefeated. Russell Wilson is cooking. Russell Wilson is cooking at quarterback. He's throwing some dimes. DJ Metcalf is having a breakout year. One of the best receivers in the game. I'm pretty sure Jamal Adams will be back at safety in the defense to stiffen that defense up a little bit. Yeah, so Arizona did have a really impressive performance against the Cowboys last week, but the Cowboys aren't great. I explained this in our last bet when I said the Cowboys against Washington. So that game has really skewed some of the betting odds with Seattle being the best team in the league and getting only 3.5 points against Arizona is ridiculous, really. Yeah, so I would jump on this now. I'm assuming some smart money is going to come in and drive this line up a little bit. So anything less than anything less than a touchdown, I'm probably happy to go with for this bet. But yeah, for now, I'd get on an ASAP as well, because it opened up at 3, it has drifted out to 3.5. So I'd get on it pretty quickly. But yeah, Seattle minus 3.5 against the Arizona Cardinals. Let Russell cook. Sticking with the NFL, we have 2 more bets in the NFL. Our next bet is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady, TB12, against the Las Vegas Raiders. So the Las Vegas Raiders had a really good performance against the Chiefs. Then they had a bye. So this is something that you can really look for to make money on, is when a team has an aberration of a performance, a really good performance that they're just not going to replicate. Usually the next week, their odds are way too high to win a game that they probably won't win. Like the Las Vegas Raiders are a good team, they're a solid team, but they haven't won many games all year. They had a really good performance against the Chiefs. The Chiefs were a little off. They could get free, their defense was off. And we just saw the Buccaneers wipe the floor with an undefeated Green Bay Packers team. And to only give up 4 points, yeah, it's just great odds. So Tampa Bay Buccaneers minus 4 against the Las Vegas Raiders. I can see how the line has got to this, but this is where you make your money. This is where we can make money. If a team has a really good week the week before, and you just don't think they can back up the next week, you're going to get very good value to go against them. So I'm fading hard on the Las Vegas Raiders, and I'm going to take Tampa minus 4, $1.90. It's a pretty good bet. And our last bet for the NFL is the Green Bay Packers minus 3.5 against Houston. So we're going to continue this theme again. Packers had a terrible week last week. They played a very good Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Simply ran into a better team on the day. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their record doesn't show how good they are. So the Packers ran into them, they get beaten, and now everyone jumps off the Packers. Everyone's like, the Packers aren't good. So the Packers aren't going to be able to beat Houston. The Houston Texans have one of the worst defenses in the league. Aaron Rodgers is going to eat them alive. And the Green Bay Packers' defense is good enough to give Deshaun Watson problems. So, minus 3.5, another great bet. I'll back Aaron Rodgers, let him cook as well, see how we go. But yeah, minus 3.5, another good bet. So that is all of the NFL for this week, I think. Well, let me see what this bet is. Yes. So that's all the NFL for this week. So now we're going to move on to UFC 254. And for the first fight for UFC 254 that I want to have a look at is the Australian-born, Australian man Tartu Abasa, Bam Bam, versus the Swiss tower, 7 foot fucking tall Stefan Struve. It's a pick and fight. It's $1.90 each way. I think Tartu Abasa is fighting for his career at the moment. If he loses this fight, he's probably going to get cut. And listening to some of his interviews leading up to this fight, he knows he's going to get cut if he loses this fight. So he's going to be trying to put his best foot forward. He's got a lot of power, and Stefan Struve has a fucking questionable chin. And I just think that Tartu Abasa is going to get him out of there in the first round. I think he's going to land some big punches on the feet, and Stefan Struve's just going to crumble. $1.90, good odds. Not much more to say about that. I just don't see Stefan Struve's chin holding up to Bam Bam's power. A little biased, being an Australian-born fighter. You always want to support them, but $1.90, good odds. And for his sake, I hope he wins this fight, because if he doesn't, he's probably going to be cut. And, well, we don't want to see anyone getting cut. So, yeah. So now the last two bets for the UFC 255 are going to be around the main event. So around Justin Gaethje and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Tongue twisters these days. People, names, hard. So there's one of the most anticipated fights in the history of the UFC. Justin Gaethje, Khabib. It's going to be an awesome fight. So Justin Gaethje has a wrestling pedigree. Hasn't been using it much in MMA because his hands have been getting the job done. But watching some of his previous wrestling matches from back in the day and listening to some of the interviews, his main skill in wrestling is counter wrestling, making scrambles, creating weird positions in the scramble, which is what he needs to do against Khabib, because no one's going to beat Khabib straight up in a wrestling match. No one's going to come straight at Khabib and out-wrestle him. So the only way that you can get a slight edge is by doing that, creating scrambles, creating those transition positions and trying to grab something to get out, get back to your feet, and make it a stand-up fight. So I think $2.39 for this fight to go the distance. I can understand why it's big odds, because you would think if Khabib's going to win this fight, he's going to have to hold Gaethje down for 5 rounds, and eventually he's going to get a rear naked choke. He's going to get a Kimura. He's going to get something. Going to get a submission. And if Gaethje's going to win the fight, you think he's going to have to get knock Khabib out on the feet. But when you think about it, Khabib and Gaethje are two of the toughest fighters in the lightweight division. I just can't see either one of them getting finished. The only way Justin Gaethje's getting finished is if he gets, as he said, he gets taken out. And we've seen that in the Alvarez fight, we've seen that in the Poirier fight. But I just don't think Khabib has the power or the stand-up acumen to be able to do that. And I just don't think Gaethje is going to be able to knock out Khabib. Khabib has a chin, and Khabib's tough. He's got that Dagestani approach. So that all boils down to it going to a decision. And to get $3 for it to go to a decision, that's great value. You don't care who wins, as long as it goes to a decision. You get $3, which is great value. So yeah, I definitely, for you punters out there, I definitely have a look at that. And the other bet to do with the main event is, well, let me get it up. The outsider of the week. This is my absolute outsider of the week. So last week, my outsider of the week was Arsenal to beat Man City. Didn't get up. Very, very close though. Very close to getting up. 1-0. I watched the game. Arsenal had chances. So this week's outsider of the week is paying $13. Put $10 on, you get $130 back. I guarantee you this is worth a $10 bet. This is 100% worth a $10 bet. Obviously, gamble responsibly, but this is worth a $10 bet. Look me in the eyes. This is worth our $10 bet. $13 for this to go to a decision and Gaethje to win on points. Let me just sink that in. $13 for this. I can't see either of them getting finished. As I said in the last bet, can't see any of them getting finished. So, how is Gaethje going to win? So the way I see the fight going is, it's going to go 5 rounds. Khabib is going to get Gaethje down, guaranteed. He's going to take him down, guaranteed. But I don't think he can hold him down for 5 rounds. Gaethje just needs to be able to keep 3 rounds somewhat off the ground. And then he can win those rounds on the feet. And he gets the decision. A friend at work told me that Justin Gaethje by points was an outside bet. And when he first said it, I was like, crazy. No way. But the more I've thought about it in my head, the more I played it out in my head, for me, it's a really good bet. $13, great value. Put a tenner on it. Put a same game, same fight multi. Justin Gaethje on points, fight to go to a decision. Round that up a bit. It's great value. So, that is Sports Talk Best Bets for the week, episode 5. Great fights coming up this week. Grand finals galore, EPL, NFL, so many sports. Hopefully you can have a look at some of those bets, put some bets on, make some money. It's important that you like the Facebook page on YouTube, subscribe, comment, interactions. A little bit of support is good. Just keeps this fun, keeps this going. I've had a really good week, really good start. This is the 5th episode, and I'm above 60% on all my picks, and definitely some of them are really good value. So yeah, stay tuned. This will be every Thursday. Going to sit down, take a look at the week's sports, give you some bets. So like, subscribe, it really helps. I will catch you guys later. Adios.